boring.
Good to go.
Are you with us, Sean?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Yay.
We couldn't earlier. That's a really, really bad color choice that you've got going on there.
I'm changing things. Calm down.
Kind
Well,
of.
we're
Just
about to record. You better hop on it, doggone
Just a
it.
floating head in there.
That'd be actually. I'm cool with that. Just call me Zombie. I'm fine.
Well, now all of a sudden I'm trying to think of the show that had the floating heads or something. But, hey everybody, it's No Driving Gloves again. I hope you've really enjoyed the last couple of weeks of interviews. Again, some kind of exciting ones of drop from Courtney to Matt to and you can put the last names in. If you don't know, go back and listen. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We've released a recording a couple of weeks ago with Ben Keating, and Sean Yoder hosted, did the whole thing himself. And actually, I thought it was a pretty good interview, and I was kind of jealous not to have been there. And Will's finally reaching into his bag of tricks and friends and buddies. And
finally, what? Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, Will was a little bit influential in the Courtney one. So.
A little bit, maybe. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good at getting phone numbers, but we just won't tell his wife that. Back to the old college days there.
She don't listen. We can talk about it.
That's what you said last week or the week before, too. We'll find out. So Will invited the guests this evening. We're going to just kind of turn it over to Will, and I'm going to play Follow the Leader to Will, and he's moderating, and I think we've got Sean in the corner also, so we'll see who's...
I'm just in the corner. I'm just going to hang out up here and just see what happens and talk about 632 cubic inch engines.
Well, I like
me right now.
That's big money. Well, we have Johnny McDevitt from Blueprint Engines. If you're not familiar with Blueprint Engines, they're probably the leader in aftermarket engines, probably in the world. They make their own blocks, they make their own heads. I mean, they're just a super killer company that we're happy to be a part of in many endeavors through Big Oak, through the show with Courtney, through just whatever. They're just a really good company to deal with. Johnny and I actually met at a Holly EFI dealer training, and we kind of sat next to each other, and it was like immediately we just kind of clicked and become friends like that week, and we've stayed in touch with each other, and it's wound up being not only a good personal relationship but a good business relationship. So Johnny, if you want to jump on and kind of go into a little bit more about what Blueprint does, what y'all are known for, and what y'all enjoy doing. I know you got a personal project at your house that, well, I'll say personal. It's a company / personal project that maybe a little engine development going on for the future. I don't know. Sounds pretty cool. So take it over.
Yeah, little semi-secret stuff going on, but that's all. That's why you tune into stuff like that, is to kind of get the insider stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, like Will said, we met out at the Holly EFI training for dealers, and it's kind of hit it off from there. Still catch up and talk business every once in a while and all that. And it's a good relationship. Does some great things out of his shop, and just get along real well. So. He had actually run a Blueprint engine, one of our LS3 strokers with 625 horse, the 427 in the Rocket Wheels car that he built up. And I think before he even knew who I was, we ended up talking about that car and that's how they beat on that thing, and they try to break it, which we don't necessarily want you to do with our engines, but they try. And
we've tried pretty hard.
Right. I mean, I saw that thing at LS Fest on the autocross and just wailing on this thing, and it was pretty cool. We had a booth set up at LS Fest, and probably had 10 guys come up and tell me they were autocrossing our LSs and just wailing on these things, and they had yet to break them. So the cool thing about our company, we dyno test every single engine that we do. If it leaves our facility with heads and an oil pan, it's been dyno tested and ran. Even our long block engines that we sell without an intake, we still dyno test them, and then we just pull the shop intake back off of them before they go out. So I think we're up to 12 dyno cells now. We do 50 engines a day. We do GM, Ford, Chrysler, LS, big block, small block. Might be some new Mopar stuff coming down the line that I'm working on on a side project for a power tour car. So it's a great company. Definitely, I'd say one of the premier, probably the premier performance crate engine manufacturer out there. We're not just the division of a big engine company or a big automobile company. We're a true blue performance engine company to where that's what we do. So I guess that's Blueprint in a nutshell.
Well, that's awesome. So let's just kind of talk about maybe each line that y'all do. I know Chevy, Ford, and Dodge in the near future. So the Chevy stuff, man, it's big block, small block, LS. And so what's, if I wanted a big block Chevrolet for a Chevelle, what are my options there?
Sure. So our smallest big block Chevy is a 496 stroker. That's the only big block Chevy where we use a season block. So it's a 2-piece old school block, and we do a 496 out of it. And that's kind of our entry level. That's the only big block where we have an iron head option. Even some guys want to keep it kind of old school and just get something fairly mild, if you can call that mild, I guess. And then we've got a 509, we've got a 540, and then we do a 572 tall deck, and then we do a 598 standard deck, and then we go back to the tall deck for our 632. So every single one of those engines is pump gas friendly. We have the same 30-month warranty on every single one of them, even the big 632. We can do carbureted or EFI on every single one of them. And most of those big blocks outside the 496, we cast our own block in the U.S. And we make almost everything in that engine ourselves. It's truly just it's a Blueprint engine in the shape of a GM essentially. So yeah, that's our GM line. And then the LSs, we've got some short blocks that we take a truck, the 6-liter. And then we go up to, we get into the LS3 aluminum blocks pretty quick. We do a newer engine for us. It's a 530 horse, 6.2 liter. Sell a ton of them. It's an awesome price point. It's priced better than the next leading competitive. We call it a 525 horse. Ours is a 530. A little longer warranty period. We dyno test every one of them. Some other companies don't. So just some pretty cool stuff in our LS line too. And then that 427 that you guys have, that's kind of our bruiser in the LS market. We do quite a few of those too.
She's a beast.
So that's GM. Right. Yeah, it's a good one, definitely. And then you want me to talk about our Ford and our Chrysler lineup?
I'm sure there's some Ford people out there. I don't know.
Sure. We do a ton of small block Fords. Yeah. We do a bunch of 302 deck stuff. We have a 302, and then we have what we call a 306, which bumps up to aluminum heads and a roller cam. And then we do a 347, stroker based on a 302 deck motor. Then we have a 408 Ford, and then we do it's a 427 engine. We do it primarily for one of our other partners out there called Factory 5 Racing. They're a great company. But we have a 427 that goes up to 541 horsepower, and it's in its highest configuration. So some cool stuff with Fords there too. We're going to eventually do our own block here, so you have to kind of look out for that in the future. It's kind of insider information, something we're working on coming down the pipe here one of these days. And then so I'm a Mopar guy, and when I first came to Blueprint, we didn't do a whole lot of those. We actually had just discontinued the big block, which kind of broke my heart. We did a 493, but it just got to the point to where we couldn't find enough cores to reliably build those motors. And we had a flat tap at 408 with iron heads and a flat tap at 408 with aluminum heads. And I'm like, all right, guys, we got to come out with something new, something a little more exciting. So we got rid of the flat tapped aluminum headed 408 because I've got a 408 in my dark race car. I wanted something more along those lines. came out with an aluminum-headed 408 with a full roller cam design and route roller valve train. So that 408 Chrysler is something we offer now. It's on our website. That's been selling really well for us. I was definitely excited to get that one up and rolling. And then kind of in tune with our LS market and losing the big block and kind of looking at the modern side of things, we've seen a lot of these high dollar, B-body restos, E-body restos, and the big block Chrysler is not the go-to power plant anymore for a lot of these cars. And just like the LS has kind of surpassed the big block Chevy and even the small block Chevy in some markets, we started looking at Gen 3 stuff. So that's on the table. The Gen 3 Hemi is something that we've got the parts to build. We've got a couple mules going together. One of them is going to end up in one of my personal vehicles, which is going to go on the Power Tour. So kind of a proof of concept for us for the Gen 3 Hemi. But if all goes well there, I wouldn't be shocked to see us doing one of those, next, I don't know, we'll say 6 months, just keep it loose in general. But so kind of excited about that project, and that hits home for me being a Mopar guy too. So I got enough of them in my garage. Might as well do one anyway. So
maybe a SEMA new product or something.
I don't know if it'll be done by then. I would like it to be. I know my tester mule that we're gonna whale on and see what breaks and see what kind of power and all that. That'll be done. But that car is a little more of a kind of a ratty muscle vibe. It's not really a SEMA build. So it's a good power tour car. It's a good see something click off a 990 and then you're like, what the heck was that thing? So
but if you took a kind of a ratty car and not a perfectly show stopper to SEMA, you might catch a little bit of attention. This nice, pretty motor in it. Or am I wrong?
No, there's some crazy stuff there. We were right next to the General Mayhem, I think it was, that Charger that had the Hellcat motor in it. Ours probably won't be too far removed from something like that. It's my car. It's a 75 Roadrunner, or at least it's dressed up like a 75 Roadrunner. And people don't even know what that car is. The owner saw it of our company, and he goes, "What would you pick such an ugly car for?" And it's like, well, that's a valid question. That's a good question. So a lot of people will see that thing roll by and not even know what it is. So it'll be kind of neat.
But if you show up at a car show or a cruise night in a 75 Roadrunner or a 70 Roadrunner, you're probably going to get more questions than the guy with a 70 Roadrunner or a Superbird, because it's going to be that question is, why the heck did you do that to this? But isn't that the why we do our cars, is to attract attention and meet people, and kind of, we wouldn't do it if we were sane. So. Right.
Yeah. I've always been a drag racer, growing up, and I, 16 years old, I never had the money to, go out and buy a Chrysler Cuda or, a Charger or anything else. So I ended up with a 74 Dart. And to me at the time, like, I didn't even know that those cars were a little less desirable than the early Darts, just because the grille was different, taillights were different. Made no difference to me. I had a car that I paid half as much for as, the next guy up. And that's kind of hot rodding 101. That's what I've been kind of about, since day one. So yeah, I'm with you. You had me convinced. There's just a couple more people more important than me that get to pick the cars that go in the SEMA booth. But
well, I'll say I was at Wellborn 3 or 4 years ago for one of his shows. I don't know if it was Meeting in the Mopars or something. And I can't tell you a single car outside of his collection that I saw at that show, other than the guy with the 78 Plymouth Volare station wagon that had, 360 engine swap and, was kind of built up, but still looked like a station wagon. So,
right.
I'm also the guy that told Courtney Hanson a couple of weeks ago that the car I regret never buying was an 84 Isuzu. So pickup. So I'm, I've already proven that I'm kind of insane, but like I say, I like the different and being different in the car. Are you going to do anything radical to it body paint wise, or is it going to be more of a stock appearing thing?
It's about 4 colors right now. It'll probably stay that way for the Power Tour.
We've had a couple of conversations about that, hadn't we?
Yeah, First, I was talking to Will, and I'm like, I won't even insult you by trying to ship this thing down there or something, and disgrace your shop with with what it is. But it's yeah, it's gonna be just kind of ratty muscle for the Power Tour. I got too much other stuff to do to it, but there might be a couple of turbos hide under the hood by the time it's all said and done. So it'll be fast. Maybe it won't be so fast you won't see the paint job. We'll go with that.
There you go.
The Gen 3 stuff, man, you can make some big power with Gen 3. I mean, it's
Yep.
that market is humongous. I've been a part of it for a while now, and yeah, man, that's exciting to hear that you guys are coming with that. I know a lot of folks that are going to be like, okay, show me,
Right.
like show
Yeah.
me right immediately.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. There's really only one company out there that's kind of doing much Gen 3 stuff that recently moved from North Carolina to Detroit. I don't want to say their name, but
Right. There's a couple out there that offer stuff. I guess what I find with what'll be our biggest competitor in this space is price point and just availability. You know, the Chrysler's got a couple of crate engines that they offer, but you never know if you can get them or not. Honestly, that catalog's printed and half discontinued before it hits any shelves anywhere. And there's some companies that offer those, and they might come and can swap them and stuff. But at the end of the day, ours is going to be a completely forged offering, similar to that LS3 427. Every time I bring this up in a meeting, I'm like, it's going to be that LS 427, only it's going to be the Chrysler Gen 3 version of that, fully forged. That same area of price point. It's going to come with a controller package and the ECU and all that. It's going to be a turnkey bundle. And what kills me about the other ones is like it's either they're not turnkey or they're 18 grand. It's like nobody can touch that. There are. I can't touch that. I'll say that. So, but if you start looking at something like our LS3 that's 12 or 13 grand, makes 600 horse, and it comes with like the wiring, the ECU, and all that. Nobody's doing that for Chrysler outside of a bone stock 5.7 or even the 6.4s. So I'm excited to bring something that turns 600 and can take the abuse that 427 LS. So be pretty neat, I think.
There's
I'm
going to be a
excited.
lot of takers for that, man. There's going to be a lot of takers for that.
I'm hoping so. I kind of got my reputation on this one, so I kind of see the owner and the president start to go like this every time I talk about him. So
no, it's that market. The market's real. I spent some time working with SRT and getting out amongst the Mopar faithful, and it turned me into someone. I wasn't a Mopar fan. I came to it later in life, and knowing what those folks go through to, like you said, what they go through to actually find a block and a decent set of heads, and it's the market's huge, but the pickings are slim. So it's pretty exciting to hear that you guys are coming with your own offering, man. That's incredibly cool. Incredible.
If we're pushing a little too far on this, just tell us to stop. But I got another question about it. Are
if we're pushing too far, okay, I'm gonna push a little further.
Yeah. Us, hey, trying to be nice.
You were polite about it, but
yeah, right.
But go ahead and ask your other question.
Are y'all going to be manufacturing your own heads? The reason for that question is, some of the early Gen 3 Hemis, not sure about the later ones, but they were kind of notorious for, dropping valve seats and having a few little issues like that. Is that something that, obviously I know y'all would address, but are y'all going to make your own heads in-house?
So it'll be one of those things where time will kind of tell. I would on it, just to be upfront with this engine, I would say it'll probably be an OEM casting to where we address the valve seat issue, at least to start. If it's something that we come out and we're all shocked and astonished and we sell, so many that it makes sense. Like, obviously, if you look at our lineup now, we make our own small block Chevy heads, big block Chevy heads, a Ford head, and an LS head. So, if we get to the point where they sell enough, I'd say then, anything's probably on the table. But for a good while, it'll probably be based on an OEM casting, I would say, with that taken care of.
So you hear that. What I'm reading into that is if the Mopar guys step up and they start buying these things and we can you're proving an aftermarket for this Hemi project by, and taking a huge risk by doing the block and that. And if that starts to sell, then you guys will make the additional investment and really go after a really trick set of heads. But until then, you're just going to massage them with the Blueprint masseuse and just improve the shortcomings.
Yeah, that's accurate entirely, and that's how we do stuff. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say in the next year that we're going to have a Hemi block and Hemi heads. I mean, it's all proof of concept,
Right.
To dive into something like that and get big. I mean, it's taken this long to get a Ford block on the table, and we sell more of those than we do Chrysler. So as much as everybody gets tired of me here at these meetings of Chrysler, it's like, well, we got to sell this stuff too. We'll make anything to make money on it and to have a good product offering that we can help the market and help either Ford guys, Mopar guys, GM guys, whatever, any of them. But we've got to sell them. So that's always the thing of like, you always hear, it's usually the first to say like, oh, well, we wish you made it. We wish you made it. Well, I wish you bought it. That's kind of the thing. Even this, this new 408 small block we've got, it's an awesome engine, and I was glad to help develop it and all that kind of stuff. But we don't do a small block Chrysler head. We take an Edelbrock casting, we massage it, and we assemble it ourselves and everything. I would love to get to the point to where the market forces us to do one of those. But yeah, we got to sell a lot of them. And, as much as I would love them to be, they're not a small block Chevy right now. So hopefully we'll get there. We'll see what happens.
What do you think the time investment, if I'm not getting too far ahead, we'll come back for your question.
Yeah,
but what do you think that, you talk about, and I don't want to get into dollars. We're not talking dollars here, but to put it in people's perspective, one of these projects where you're going to cast the block and you're going to develop, literally everything on the bottom end so it all works together and, has Blueprint engine reliability and goes out there and, can take a beating on the quarter mile, weekend after weekend, etc. What kind of time investment in R&D and stuff do you think you have? It's sure not 100 hours. How many thousands of hours? And then that kind of, shows the way why you just can't jump in and do the whole thing really quick. Chrysler's doing it with 1,000 people when they design a motor. You guys are doing it with a very small staff. And I think, a lot more limitations than a manufacturer.
Right. I mean, we're big at 50 engines a day, but yeah, we're not the big three Detroit automotive, companies. So things take time, definitely. And, with different projects that we're working on, things get shuffled to the front, to the back, to, whatever's kind of hot in the fire right now. So, I mean, not to be overly vague, but I mean, it's years. I mean, I've been with the company for probably 3 years now. And again, I mean, a roller cam LA Chrysler was one of the first things that I brought up. I mean, it's been launched for 6 months. So that just goes to show, and that's not an overly exotic or complicated engine to put together. And it's not even just the development of that, it's finding the time to do it. It's a lot, it's R&D, it's field testing, it's stress testing. You have to get on YouTube and look and try to find some videos of our facility and just our R&D area and everything. And the first time I walk through and I see 3D printed models of engine blocks and timing covers, and I'm looking at this machine in the corner and it's got a crankshaft jigged up in it. And I'm kind of looking at it and something doesn't look right. Well, here the crankshaft is vibrating and we have a machine that'll shoot sound waves through a crankshaft and that literally cause it to vibrate. And then I'm going to simplify this because they're smarter than me, but they can take that, resonant frequency and somehow translate it back to, stress testing in an engine. And we can figure out the cast crank is going to break at 700 horse. So we're good to use it in something that makes 5, little things like that. And just the stuff that goes on back there blows your mind. So not to ramble on about a question you didn't ask me, but I guess years is the answer to, to tool up and all that kind of stuff.
I love the fact that you're putting that into a perspective that people can understand, because I get that all the time in what I do. And most people don't want to, for some reason, they don't want to factor in the time that it took to research and develop a product. into the actual price. Like I've literally had people come up to me and they go, well, I'm in manufacturing and I know what it costs to make that. Okay, that's great. You know what it costs to make it. Do you know what it costs to actually research and develop it? And the fact that you have to amortize that into the cost is lost on so many people. And it kind of blows my mind. But I mean, you're putting years of product development into this stuff. And you got to make that money back. You can't just go, oh, we just did that because we wanted to have fun. I mean, you did have fun while you were doing it. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of times you're having fun while you're doing it. But I mean, yeah, I love the explanation that you just gave, and hopefully that gave some insight to some folks, and they understand that, you know, when they're spending 15 grand for a turnkey engine package, it's not just the cost of materials and the hours that it took to assemble. It's countless dyno runs and countless stress testing cars and countless, you know, being bolted into Will's cars that he's building for folks and going out and actually being real world. And it's cool, man. It's really, really cool to hear that explanation. Thank you for that. I'll shut up now.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Definitely. I mean, yeah, our R&D area and the guys in R&D and our head of engineering and R&D and everything, it's just the stuff that they do. You know, when we come up with these, you know, these engine combinations, it's just the testing and the design and everything. It's nuts. That, not to just keep talking Mopar, but that other Chrysler that we did, that was a flat tappet 4-way with the aluminum heads before the roller came out. I remember looking up the part number for it, and it was actually a Ford piston. Well, here what had happened was, I think they discontinued making the piston we were using. So we actually took a Ford piston and remachined it to use in a Chrysler. And it's like, just to figure that out, I mean, it's kind of nuts, all the stuff that goes into developing not only a combination, but something that's reliable, you know, that you can dyno test. And a lot of customers will call in, they're like, oh, I want something that's 900 horsepower and, you know, this and that and whatever. And it's like, well, we build our engines to last. You know, I've got something to make 800 horsepower, but they're still warranted street engines that run on pump gas. You know, we could put a huge cam in it and bump it up to 14-1 and make 1,000 horsepower, but that's just a different level animal than something that's going to live on the street for, you know, years and years and years and years. So that's just what we pride ourselves in. And, you know, to your point, like you said, with cost, I mean, we have engines that start under $3,000 and go clear up to, you know, 18 or whatever you want to spend. So we do have something for every budget. Our size, it lets us purchase in bulk from suppliers. We don't buy a lot of parts from, you know, sometimes your brand name suppliers, you would say, because we buy them in their raw format from their original source that the big boys are also buying from. We bring them to Nebraska and we machine them. So at that point, you know, it's a blueprint crank. It came out of the same, you know, it went and came to us. It didn't go to a name that you've heard of, and then we machined it. So we kind of avoid some of those middleman costs. We buy them 1,000 at a time, and we pass that on to our customers. And, you know, we got an engine for every budget. So it works out for everybody, I think.
Yes, sir. So if I just wanted a set of blueprint heads for my big block Chevy, do y'all offer just heads, or is it just, you know, complete engines?
We do. We have a parts program. If you get on our website, you click the parts tab. We do have our own blueprint cylinder heads, which again, we own the tooling for those, and we machine them in-house and assemble them in-house. So you can buy heads from us. You can even find some intake manifolds on there. We don't sell rotating assembly parts. You know, at the least, we want to sell you a short block just for kind of what I would say the liability involved. I would rather sell a short block that's been assembled, balanced, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's some nice ignition components on there, front drives. We found that a lot of customers, and it's just kind of a time is money thing. They want to buy as much as they can just from one spot, period.
Yep.
So that was kind of another program that I kind of started when I got with the company, was a full-fledged parts program. If somebody wants a flex plate or a flywheel or even a water pump, you know, why don't they just buy it from us? Because we might as well sell them a Blueprint Engines water pump to go with their Blueprint engine. And just like we offer a braking oil, you know, it just kind of lets people sleep better at the end of the day. If you're using a Blueprint braking oil and you're running your Blueprint engine, I mean, kind of goes hand in hand with the warranty. It's cheap insurance, I always say. You know, even most. Go ahead.
I'm a huge fan of that right there. Huge. You can make one phone call. You can get your motor. You can get your braking oil. You can get your front drive system. You can get everything that you need from one company. And if you have a problem with that, you know, you make one phone call. You know, you're not calling Summit. You're not calling Jegs. You know, you're calling Blueprint. And, you know, that's pretty sweet. And you guys have tested all of that together. You know it works, so you just ship it out. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we still have some great reseller relationships, and you know, Summit, Jag, Speedway, you can get our stuff there. But yeah, we're happy to talk to you on the phone too, and you know, sell that way as well. So it all works out. And you know, one thing I'll say about our staff is we're all hot rodders, and some of those bigger, more corporate speed companies will say you pull in the parking lot and it's all, you know, Jettas and Hondas and whatever. You pull in our parking lot, it's C10s, old Jeeps, you know, like it's old school. Like I got a guy that does truck pulls. I mean, everything. I'm a drag racer. It's like we're legit hot rodders. Guy at the head of RD has a Mustang. It's a real hot rod atmosphere. So we talk a lot of muscle car, and we take shots at each other every once in a while. Kind of, it's a fun environment to work in, especially I'm the Mopar guy, we have the Ford guy, we have the Chevy guy. We all beat each other up a little bit, but it's a good atmosphere. Keeps us going.
Yeah, being a Mopar guy, you got to learn how to take it on the chin, right?
Yeah, I probably get it the worst of anybody. that's sure. Yep.
Johnny, I'll be a Mopar guy with you.
There we go.
We're taking up 50% of this podcast right now. We're not in the minority tonight. We're probably the majority tonight, to be honest. Oh, actually, John's pretty much a Mopar guy.
Yeah, but I went to his website. He doesn't have any 2.2 liter 4-cylinders.
No, we don't. I think the smallest thing we have is a 302 right now. Yeah.
Going back around to what you were saying about, you know, you've got the truck pull guy, you've got the drag racer, and you. When you go to when a customer calls up and they say, "I have a insert vehicle here that I want to go drag racing with, or I want to go autocross or road race or tractor pull," or do you guys offer an ability to basically tune whatever package they're looking at for the application that they want to use it in? Or are you more of a, you know, this is the turnkey assembly, once you get it, you're on your own as far as the tuning side of it? Or how does that work with you guys, just out of curiosity? Because I know a lot of folks, they want to use engines for a lot of different reasons. It's not always, you know, we want to put it into a street rod and cruise it. A lot of folks want to, you know, they want to put that 632 in something that's going to go out. And like you said, you know, they put it in a 2,400 pound car and let's go run some eights kind of thing. So how are you doing that for folks?
So, you know, it's still a 30-month warranty. I mean, there's two sides of it. So
that's the other question. How the hell are y'all doing that?
Right.
That's insane.
So we always say there's two sides to our warranty. There's, you know, every company out there has a warranty policy that's on paper, and that's the legal side of it. And every company has to say that. And you know, you got to have that on paper to protect yourselves and even protect your customers and your installers and everything to some level. But then there's how we treat our customers. So, you know, when you call in, if you've got an issue, I guess the industry in itself has changed a lot, and you guys know this. It's the age of the internet. If you don't take care of your customer, somebody else will. And if you don't take care of your customer, whether it's your fault, someone else's fault, whether there's a wrench in the engine wrapped around the crankshaft that didn't come from your plant, you better help that guy, or it always comes back to you. And at the end of the day, we'd rather keep everybody happy than, you know, split hairs over warranty policies. Now, that's not an open invitation to go abuse stuff and take our cheapest 350 with hyper pistons and go put a bogger kit on it. But at the same time, you know, we work with customers to every level we can, and we're probably one of the few companies out there that does have a power outer line to where we have some low compression forged content engines to where we sell them with that warranty, knowing the guys are going to put some nitrous on them, or going to put a blower or turbo on them. So, we are aware that many of our engines turn into street strip engines or see some autocross stuff. And like I said, we're not here to split hairs. You over rev something to the moon and bend all 16 push rods, we'll still help you out and take care of you. I mean, you might have some shipping in it or something like that.
Right.
If it's blatantly obvious that engine saw you, RPM.
In racing, in road racing, it's missed shift is we call it a money shift, and I'm sure it's called that pretty much across the board. If that happens, most people that race, they understand they're on their own at that point. I mean, that's not something you did. That was operator error.
Exactly. There is a policy on the website that says there's no warranty on racing applications, but then again, everything we sell is a street engine that runs on 91 or lower. So it's all about how we'll take care of you if you take care of us type
That's
thing.
cool. It's really cool, and that's respectable. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, with the turnkey engines and all that stuff, the more equipment we can sell you on the engine, if we can sell it with a front drive, and a lot of our big ones have a deep sump pan anyway. Kind of a cool thing to your point, if somebody's going to do some corner carving or some drag racing, we don't void warranties for minor changes. If we send you something with an HEI distributor and you drop in your MSD, as long as the cam gear is compatible or whatever, we don't void warranties for stuff like that. Or if your oil pan doesn't fit your chassis and you've got to change your oil pan, we don't warranty gasket leaks on the oil pan at that point, but we're not going to void your warranty if it wipes the cam, because the cam has nothing to do with the oil pan. So
that's
we're
awesome.
Pretty good company to deal with.
Yeah, that's cool to hear, man. That's really cool to hear, because I mean those are just things that people are going to run into. It's a lot of your stuff is. It's not like you're walking into an Advance and going, I have a 1972 Chevelle and I need a 396. It's going like that 396 or that 632 could find its way into a Mercedes somehow. And everything's not going to be compatible. Yeah, it's cool to hear that you guys.
Yeah, I should have made a list of just the weirdest engine swaps that I've seen or stuff go into. Could have been a show in itself. But to the 632 in 10 seconds here. We have a guy who has a little Triumph TR something or other.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't even know if it has a trans brake in it, but the thing pulls the wheels like 4 feet off the ground. I think he runs 8. The carb and the intake stick through the hood like that far on it. So that's one of the more interesting ones that I've seen.
Good Lord, I'm gonna go look for that right now. Let's see if I can find that. I'll put that up behind me in a heartbeat.
It's all over our Facebook group. We have a pretty cool, we have an owners group set up and then just our regular Facebook page. So if you're interested in one of our engines or if you own one already, hit up our owners group on Facebook for sure.
It's under, I assume they're searching for Blueprint Engines or something like that on Facebook, or?
Yeah, the Facebook, it's just Blueprint Engines is our page, and then there's Blueprint Engines owners group is the owners group.
Now I'm going to ask and be an idiot here. You're building 50 engines a day and figure a 260-day work year. You're building 13,000 motors a year, but it's a number you said earlier. And we're talking crate engines, and all we're talking is performance applications, and I'm going to put it in my strip car and that. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Are 13,000 people a year buying for strict racing applications for you, or are some of these engines going into the worst case scenario of just my 350 or my small block failed in my Corvette and I put another Corvette, okay, I'll spend a couple grand, I'll get something from you guys, I'll drop it in, and it's basically a street car and it's a swap, and we all know that anybody driving something on the street is actually doing much more damage than a guy most likely racing it. So is the bulk of your stuff going to this specialty crowd weekend warrior toys, or do you see a lot of your production actually going into the real world environment?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. No, that's great. And I'll definitely, I don't want to paint us as the race engine company because we're not. Again, everything is streetable. So and like I said before, we have kind of an engine for every budget. So we do have some like a little 302 Ford that only makes 230 something horsepower. It's just kind of, you know, the guy with an old 60s Mustang and still has bias ply tires, or an early Bronco, and that's just, they want something to replace that engine without having to replace the transmission, without having to replace the rear end, all that kind of stuff. So we do have some small block Chevys and some small block Fords that are fairly mild for what they are. And we sell a lot of engines to, you know, pure street cars that will probably never see a drag strip or anything like that. That's probably the bulk of our customer, honestly. Our most popular engine is right now is a 383 small block Chevy, makes 430 horse, you know, roller cam aluminum heads, and we sell those to, you know, square body Chevy guys. We sell them to Corvette guys, Camaro guys, and most of them are just drivers. And yeah, that's where a lot of our product goes.
Guess nobody had a follow up there.
Waiting on you, John.
Street cars, boring. Yeah.
See, edit point. But it's what am I going to say? And that's something, like I was saying, is that you know, Will was talking about it's nice to go to one place and basically buy everything. You know, I can buy the motor, I buy the harness, I can buy the, you know, the front drive system. You know, I can get everything, and I know everything is going to work together because, you know, Will's build custom cars. I've done restoration for years. The worst thing is taking, you know, part from manufacturer A and try to make manufacturer B and manufacturer C work. A lot of times I like to build something, make it work, and then, okay, then maybe I need to change a couple of pulleys or figure out a different drive system, or maybe, you know, like you said, a different distributor or something. But I know what I'm getting from you as a package is going to work. And if it's obviously a lot of street testing and a lot of real world miles helps back, and that's why you can offer that, you know, 30-month warranty, and I'm assuming be more liberal in your warranty findings over the guy that is maybe fibbing that, you know, it's not my fault that this happened. And, you know, I'm one of those guys. I'd probably call you and just say, hey, you know, what can we do here? Even though I did, just to see, you know, and sometimes it's just, I think, customer service. Even to me, it's not, you have to give me a new motor, you have to give me $50 off something. The fact that you take a minute and are caring enough behind the product. And, you know, again, that's just me and the way I do business, and the manufacturer. Sometimes I have to bitch at somebody. I'm going to bitch at you because you built the motor and I spent the most money on that, even though it wasn't the motor that caused it. It was filling up at the gas station that had water in their gas or something. And, or, you know, I would say the ex-girlfriend drives it and accidentally puts 87 in it, as opposed to 93 or something. But just, it's good. I didn't know much about Blueprint before Will brought it up, and, you know, did a little research, and talking to you, it seems pretty good. Do we want to take this now to, okay, we've spent 40 minutes with you talking business. Now let's have fun. Where do we want to go? We can get off the topic. We can stay on the topic. You know, I think we've quizzed you 40 minutes, and where, you know, you're obviously building a car. You're, you know, going to do your car shows and stuff.
I've got one more business question for Johnny.
Too bad. Too late.
No. I'm the host here, remember? Not you this time. So, I know y'all offer EFI for pretty much every engine that y'all produce, y'all manufacture. So a lot of people are still scared to fuel inject anything. You know, I love fuel injection. I want to put it on everything, my go-kart if I can. So the guy that, let's say the guy that's never done a Holly Sniper on a small block Chevrolet before, you know, he buys the 383 with the Holly Sniper, you know, he gets all that stuff in his car. Do y'all support him throughout the install of his build, even with the electronic side of things? Or do y'all kind of let Holly's tech line kind of take over there?
Yeah, I've kind of become very versed in those systems, probably out of necessity more than anything, much like yourself. And we took that school together down there. You know, we
Yep.
were there for what, 8 days, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Woo!
yeah. So yeah, so I mean, we're versed in it, and we'll help with install and all that kind of stuff. Now, if it comes to like maybe little service parts that we don't stock, like just
Right.
the small parts or something, at some point we might defer to Hawley. Some advanced data logging, that type of stuff. At some
Right.
point, they might be better than us at something like that. But the basic install questions, I would say 9 out of 10. Even troubleshooting stuff, we're pretty good with those systems.
Nice.
Last time I was in town, I took one of them and wired one of them up on a power unit up in the conference room. Brought all the guys in, and we just played with the handheld and kind of learned from start of what the setup wizard is and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're pretty good at helping there too, and we sell the fuel pump systems for those and
Nice.
everything else. So
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty damn cool. So, all right, now for the fun stuff.
Well,
So-
yeah, I appreciate it. I got the logos in all four corners, and so yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't have to brag all night. So
before we go anywhere, Sean's changed his wallpaper, and he said he was going to, or his background. So this is great for the YouTubers out there, reminding everybody that you can watch us on YouTube. But all of a sudden, he's got like a 75 or 76 vet behind him. And this goes from what he had before with the Blueprint engine and stuff. Was this something that you found in the search for this, I'm assuming, TR6 drag car? Or?
It's on the Blueprint Engine's Facebook page. It's in their photos. And all I'm thinking of, I actually, as a former very proud Chevette owner, I've always wanted to engine swap one of these things. Dropping a 331 or a 383 or something like that with a not a top loader, Muncie in something like that it would do my heart good. Do you know if that's a car that you actually have done that? Because the Nash that I had up before that actually has one of your 331s in it. That was this thing. Compelling podcasting here. Watch the video. Seriously, go to YouTube. Watch the video. That has, there's pictures of that with the 331 out of y'all's catalog in it. How the hell do you stuff it? I've never understood how you stuff a small block in a Nash. I don't get it. But
there's a couple of little British cars. The Triumph is one, and then the Nash isn't British, but the British comes to mind because the Triumph, one of small block Ford, the distributor's in the front versus the Chevy it being in the back. So there's odd applications, like there's Triumphs and different Rovers and stuff that they end up getting a Ford engine because the distributor's in the front and they don't have to run it a clearance.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school that had a 289 swapped MG, and it was terrifying. It was just terrifying. Like for its time, I guess it didn't even make sense. Like you'd get in it and you'd row into second gear and be like, this is too scary to keep going. It's like the whole car just felt like it was going to twist in half. Neat stuff there, man. I'm going through y'all's Facebook page right now like a little 5-year-old. I'm like, ooh, they did that. They did that. They did that. Yeah, it's cool. Check them out on Facebook, y'all.
I'm going to say 1999 Power Tour. We were in St. Louis, Missouri, and in comes a Geo Metro with a blown big block in it.
Was the hat over top of the roof?
Not quite, but it was up there pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I remember going, geez, Louise, that's pretty crazy. So of course it was it was more of a show car than a go car, but it's pretty wild.
We do a 454 small block Chevy, the same bore and stroke as a original 454 big block Chevy, but ours is a small block. There was a guy who had a Geo Tracker that took one of those, and I think twin turboed it. I want to say it had, at least had a single turbo on it. I don't remember the specifics, but did drag week with it and all that. And that was, the weird stuff that makes you look twice is kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that. I like that oddball stuff like that. That this one guy had I think it was a Yugo. That he had two Cadillac motors in it, like 200, 500, two 500
Oh.
Cadillac motors. One in the
Where
front,
did he
one in-
sit? Did he sit
Yeah.
on top of a motor?
They
There's no car left at that point.
They sit sideways.
Holy crap.
It was crazy, and he was autocrossing the snot out of the thing.
Oh my god!
And he could just have the front, or he could just have the back, or he could have both.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Why not? Let's go crazy.
Yeah, do it. Let's go.
That's
So-
Oh,
like
no.
that.
I just found a trike.
Oh yeah, there's the Cheetah Trike Company. They buy our small block Chevys and they put these zoomy headers on them, and half the times they have they have 5 zoomies per side, but they're just V8s. And I kind of look at, like, everybody looks at them and like, oh, what engine is that? It was just a small block Chevy, but they just put the extra zoomie on it, you know. Yep.
Well, how do they
That's,
do that?
I think it comes into a log first and then out of the log, if I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
And then that
V10.
Boss Hawk Company from LS Fest, if you saw them, they buy our LSs, our big blocks, our small blocks, and they build traditional, big bikes with
Yeah.
big block, small block power. Yeah.
Yeah,
Y'all
those boss houses are insane.
Y'all build motors for them. Is the first one of those I ever saw. The guy that had it, he pulls up and he puts it over on the kickstand, and it's sitting there idling, and the bike is literally rotating on the kickstand, sitting in the parking lot, and all of us are just. Everybody else is looking at it, and they're like, what size is the motor? What's this? How big are tires on the back of it? And I am literally bent down looking at the kickstand construction and mounting mechanism, trying to figure out how because I mean that's a lot of weight. It's holding this entire motorcycle as it's rotating around in the parking lot, just sitting on the kickstand. I was impressed with the kickstand, not the rest.
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff, man. It's cool. Y'all are diversified, man. Y'all are putting some stuff in some not normal applications. That's really cool to hear.
Yep, definitely.
Good customers, right?
Yeah, honestly, we've got probably the best customers out there. We get all day long, as I'm on the email strings, we get just pictures of customers' rides. And, when I have time, I'll grab them and put them up on Facebook or try to put them on Instagram. And, yeah, there's just, gorgeous stuff. And, we're even making a push to sell the complete, even an engine transmission package, something pretty neat that we're working on doing. We can do it right now, but we need to do a little better job of advertising that we do it. So kind of your point of buying everything just in one shot, you pull a crate up and it's an engine, trans, and pulleys all bolted together, ready to drop in. Kind of takes a lot of time out of it for you. So that's the airboat. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's like you just keep finding crazier and crazier stuff, man.
Yeah. So cool story about the airboat. Our owner has a couple of them, and there was really bad flooding in Kearney, Nebraska, not too long ago. And it was, like hotels were flooded out up past the first floor and everything else. And a clip of the news came on, and it was our owner of our company, great guy, out there actually rescuing people who were stuck in parking lots on his airboat with the Blueprint engine in the back. So it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That probably made some national news right there.
Yeah, I saw it in more places than just local. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So your Dart you got, your drag car, that's the same one you had in high school, right?
I did. I bought that car at 16 years old. Yep.
Nice. And what's it? Give us a little lowdown on that thing. What's it run? How often you go drag racing? And
Sure.
You load up and take the whole family and go.
Yeah, I've got a trailer with the same logo as behind me on it. I probably do as much advertising at the drag strip for our non-race engines that I do anywhere else. And, yeah, I bought that Dart when I was 16. Is what I could afford at the time. I had a slant 6 in it, little 7 1/4 rear end, and of course that wasn't enough. And stumbled into a 318 to start with. Put that in there. That wasn't enough. I actually got a Blueprint 408 at one point, and the car ran, I think, 12s on that. That wasn't enough. I didn't work at Blueprint at the time, so I started building my own 408. Yeah, solid roller cam. It's that over the top build of, like, it's not really a street car anymore, though it kind of looks like it. but it runs like 1040s on just a foot brake car, no trans brake or anything. Pulls the wheels probably 6-8 inches off the ground. Sublime green, still a vinyl top car. It's a fun little car.
Nice.
Go mod top, I dare you.
The vinyl top, you don't see
Do
a
it.
lot of vinyl tops. Yeah.
Do it. Go mod top. Go Paisley. I dare you. Dare you.
Yeah. I've seen those before. They're pretty
They're
wild.
they're actually cool, man. If it's on the right car, if it's done the right way,
Yep.
they look really cool. They really. Have you ever done any of the Mopars at the Strip or any of the bigger Mopar stuff, the bigger shows and drag races?
The Mopar stuff up in Norwalk, I've done the different reiterations of that, and then Columbus was the Mopar Nationals, which was my other one. And I've done those, and then a couple Mopar races. It was funny. There was an all Hemi reunion at Quaker City, my local drag strip, and it's a great facility. But they had even if you weren't a Mopar guy, I mean, they had this circus tent set up of all these old like Dick Landy and Don Garlits, just all these old school, Ram Chargers, Dodges, and all that kind of stuff. And in the middle spread of Hot Rod Magazine, when they took the aerial shot of this, was I think at the time, 318 lime green 74 Dart, which like obviously never had a Hemi in it or anything. Probably the only car on the ground that never had a Hemi, but I parked it on the hill near the starting line. And so they're all Hemi reunion of all these $1 million, 426 Chargers and stuff. There's my little 318 Dart sitting right in the middle.
And you felt amazing. You felt awesome.
Great. Like, I was in a magazine spread.
You totally belonged there. It was the way to go. That's very cool. And I'm still. Next time we talk, I'm going to ask you if you mod Top Jet. I mean, this is the thing. It's real.
To it, yeah.
And now magazines are gone, man. It sucks. Well, I say magazines are gone. Those types are gone. I mean, Will Hub and stuff like that's still out there.
The quarterly release, really thick paper, book-like ones are still around, but the disposable, road and tracks, car and drivers,
it's kind of disheartening, to see those go away. You know me, I always got to end it on a bad note, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of disheartening to see this go. Well, tonight, good night, y'all. Thanks for coming on, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel bad for taking all your time and talking the whole time. If there's anything else you want to hit on that doesn't involve me, you go right ahead.
No, that's what it's all about, man. We wanted
we had you on.
Yeah, we have enough shows we talked amongst ourselves. And
oh yeah. We actually done really, really good on this one. We didn't go off on some crazy tangent down a rabbit hole. So, we did what we wanted to do. We wanted
and
to
on that note, Derek's honor, y'all ever put any engines and Zambonis? Just out of curiosity. We have to work that in somehow at some point.
Can't say I sold one to a Zamboni guy. Plenty
Hot
of
rod Zambonis, man.
small buggies and the airboats and that kind of thing.
I would be willing to bet there's a blueprint engine in a Zamboni somewhere. I would be willing to bet that, because there's somebody out there that has probably like a street legal Zamboni or some crazy crap that over-revved it, that blew up the original engine, and they wanted one with a damn good warranty. So there were some
folks years ago that I can't remember what they built it on, but it was like a modular deal. For the Grassroots 2000 Challenge, like the deal they do every year with drag race, autocross, street drive, all kinds of different stuff. And it's a 2000, like this year it'd be a $2,020 car. They had a car that had components bolted to it to make it look like a Zamboni. That they drive it like that on the street drive, and then they took everything off when they raced it. But yeah, man, I'm all for a tubbed Hemi Zamboni. Let's Gen 3 Hemi a Zamboni and go to town.
That sounds like a good drag week build to me.
That
Or power tour build,
I think that's a big old garage project right there.
I think we'll team up with Blueprint and Johnny and just do it. How about
Are we gonna drive it from the Zamboni seat cross country, like open air?
Well, absolutely.
Ah, man.
But
how do I get in on that?
What we'll do is we'll have like a bolt-on roll cage, and we'll build it all out of aluminum so it's lightweight. And then
Like that Camaro.
We got this big old, monster blueprint Hemi sitting in it, maybe with even a supercharger. Wink, wink.
Plenty of room.
And we'll have an all aluminum Zamboni street bruiser.
Oh my God! And the Zamboni we can use the Zamboni ice smoothing system. It can wet and treat its own tires during the burnout.
There you go.
It should lay down VHT.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It basically, you pull up to the water box, you drop your own water, you do your burnout, you go up, you pull back, then you drop the VHT, you spin in the VHT, and then
but we got to build it to do road courses too. So
Okay.
we can sprinkle a little VHT in front of the tires.
As it's going.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah!
All four tires now.
Oh yeah, we might as well make it all-wheel drive.
Dear sweet Lord.
I mean,
are we building this?
If we're going all out, we might as well go all out.
Are we building this? Are we doing this? Do I need to start looking for? Hey, I'm going to get on the ZamboniTrader.com and see what's.
We don't even need a Zamboni to start with.
That's really true. Actually.
I mean, it's going to be too heavy. We're going to start with like a. What we'll do is we'll start with like a track hawk, we'll put.
Why even go there? Let's just do a tube frame Zamboni, just full tube frame.
There you go. All right, we'll do a chrome moly Zamboni with aluminum skins.
After you let me pick that Camaro up at Big Oak, man, that's the way to go right there. That full roll cage, I'm not the picture of human health in any way, shape, or form, but I swear to God, I could pick that entire car up. That weighed nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, huh?
We build that, and then we fill it full of helium. And then, I'm getting stupid now.
Now we've successfully went off topic.
See, there we go.
That's why I did it. I was like, it's not no driving gloves if we don't do this. We have to do this.
And in some quick Google searches, I can't find any with engine swaps. I find them that have pools in them. I find them with custom bodywork. I find them that look like sprint cars. But we need to get there's one built on a Jeep.
Just found one for $5,900. Oh, game on.
That's a bargain. That's a lot of 75 Roadrunners.
Game on. How many 75 Roadrunners can you buy for $5,900?
If you want to follow along at, I think, Johnny Mac's Garage on YouTube and Instagram, where I'm taking pictures of this thing, it's to answer the question, how do you take a 75 Roadrunner and make it worth like 12 grand? You put about 15 in it, and then it's probably still only worth 3. So
I've got a whole lot worse scenario on a 65 Dart.
I was going to say, if you're only looking at $3 grand worth of depreciation off
that's
$15,000
pretty good.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
I'm looking for a 75 Roadrunner.
The engine is worth more without the car around it.
Yeah.
It would be.
It's kind of like in last week's Ben Keating episode where Ben decided in his second year of racing, he could modify his Viper. And he said, it cost me about 50 grand to make it competitive. And once I put 50 into it, I'm never going to get that back out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to depreciate it probably 50 grand. So it's going to cost me $100,000 to do these modifications. So he went and bought another race car instead.
That's how that works. That is definitely how that works. Once we're done with the Zamboni, we can do one of those. What's the airport pushback trolley things? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the tug. There you go. Hot rod tug. Hot rod tug on the power tour. And that would come in handy.
Boats and jet boats out there with our stuff in them, with our marine engines.
Well, let's.
632 stuff.
Let's go with what you said you should have made a list, and maybe you should have. What is the craziest thing off the top of your head that has a Blueprint engine in it? Or what's the craziest combination?
The little Triumph comes to mind with the 632 in it, and then there's a Swamp Buggy. It's just kind of a tube chassis with a 632, but when he whomps on the throttle, it like pulls the front wheels off the ground. I've seen that video a bunch of times. Man, there's so many out there. I've seen a hearse with our engine that was like a burnout machine. That's another one. Lots of weird stuff.
I'm picturing squeezing the coffin between the wheel tubs in the back of the hearse. So.
Yeah.
And the coffin is full of water and VHT. And we have a spray. Oh, I want to build something that sprays the water in the VHT. I really want to do that. I think that would be amazing. I found another one, y'all. They're out there. Zamboniees are for sale. $5,000 for this one.
Well, I'm going to throw some mean thing out here. There could be one for sale in Huntsville since they lost their hockey team.
Brutality.
Tells her not to listen to the end of this.
So Johnny, what's the best way to purchase a Blueprint engine? Sorry, you can cut that out.
I say redo that whole question, and I'll edit that. If we got the guy on for an hour, we need to be able to.
The funny story is,
let me redo my question.
What? So yeah, Blue Point Engines will actually take you to our website because I bought that website for that exact reason. But blueprintengines.com, our entire lineup is on there. We're Blueprint Engines on YouTube, Facebook.
Hang on, let me redo my question, and then we can. I won't sound like an idiot. All right.
Yep.
Oh, Johnny, dude, thanks for being with us. What's the best way to get a Blueprint engine to your driveway?
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Definitely. It's blueprintengines.com. Definitely easy to find us there. We're Blueprint Engines on YouTube. Same on Instagram. Pretty active on social media. But yeah, blueprintengines.com. All of our deliveries come with a liftgate service. We'll set it on the ground for you. GM, Ford, and Chrysler, they're all right there. Nice. Dyno tested, 30-month warranty.
Nice. Now, I know you mentioned it earlier on in the podcast, but you can actually go through Summit or Jegs or somebody like that too, right?
Yeah, we have a whole string of resellers. Speedway Motors is right up the street in Lincoln there. And we've got Summit, Jegs, little Pace Performance in Ohio. Lots of resellers out there where you're welcome to call us direct, blueprintengines.com, or, pull us right up and call us direct. You can ask for Kel's, one of our salesmen will take good care of you. I answer the phone occasionally when we're really busy. So if you get me, I might not know how to run your credit card. I can answer your engine questions.
Oh, that's funny. Well, man, thanks for being on with us, and look forward to maybe farther on down the road whenever y'all drop that Hemi, maybe getting you back on here and talk about the Hemi and just kind of shoot the crap about anything automotive.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate it, guys. All great questions. I definitely appreciate you guys having me and kind of focusing the show around Blueprint. Like I said, I didn't mean to take your old show, but I appreciate it. And yeah, it was great.
We'll have to invite you back and we'll learn a little bit about Johnny instead and figure out some, pull out some of that personal stuff. But it was wonderful to learn and, really dig into, give you a 60-minute talk about the engines. I don't think we could have done it any quicker. I'm going to do our plugs and say, remind everybody, Facebook, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Just look up No Driving Gloves, nodrivinggloves.com. We're most active on Facebook and some pretty great things, and making it easier and easier to subscribe. And I think Johnny's our 12th, maybe somewhere in that area, interview in a row. So you haven't had to listen to the three of us just drone on, and pretty interesting group there. So go back, listen to some of our other episodes. Having Johnny tonight was great. And at that point, I think I will also bow out and say thank you and good evening.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
I'm ready to buy that and do the swap. Let's go. You got to tune into the video to see it.